Dan Bidondi for TruthRadioShow.com. Today is July 16th of 2014, and I want to talk about the border crisis that's going on right at the border of Mexico and the United States. First of all, we got tons of illegals coming in by the busload, by Homeland Security, shipping them into the United States. Now, first of all, where the hell is the Border Patrol doing their job? The Customs, ICE, and all these people, they're not. Obama was even on record telling them to stand down in California there, and this is going crazy. But one thing I want to address, people with the internment camps, you know, the detention centers, that the mainstream media says, hey, we're a bunch of conspiracy lunatics for talking about them because they don't exist. Our government says, oh no, there ain't no detention camps, there ain't no FEMA camps. But yes, they admit it, yes, we're shipping thousands of illegal aliens into the country and putting them into these detention centers. So these detention centers just magically appear and build themselves overnight. That the same detention centers that we've been telling you about for a long time, and yeah, it's all in legislation, HR 645, Army Regulations 210-35, the re-education camps, FM, which is Army Field Manual 3-39.40, and Operation Endgame by Homeland Security. They all talk about these detention centers, re-education camps, FEMA camps, whatever you want to call them. They are openly admitting, yes, we're putting kids and refugees in these detention centers. You know, but we talk about them, we're conspiracy theorists. But second of all, the whole border crisis alone, why isn't Homeland Security doing their job? They're arresting people for stopping buses when citizens are supposed to do their job, their duty and responsibility to protect our government, our country when our government won't. That's in the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. But instead, Homeland Security, instead of arresting and deporting these legal immigrants there, they're arresting their own people and bringing them into the country. I mean, this is going too far. Homeland Security with ICE and TSA gave this woman a hard time over breast milk, but yet lets illegals fly into the country with no identification. So where does it stop, folks? And people are getting up to do something about it, but instead of our government siding by its people, they are arresting their own people and bringing these illegal aliens in. And let me tell you what's really going on, folks. What a lot of people have forgotten about and what the real agenda behind this is. It's called the North American Union. The same thing that Lou Dubs from CNN talked about. I mean, between him exposing that and the amnesty plan, he was asked to resign. He was forced to resign from his network. But I mean, people have forgotten about the North American Union. This is all part of the agenda, folks. Open borders, that's why our government ain't doing nothing about it. Instead, they're shipping them in, because if they were to deport them, it would violate the NAFTA and GATT treaty programs and the whole North American Union trade agreement. So there you see it, folks. This is the beginning stages of the implementation of the North American Union. That's why they're not telling you why they're not, because they can't ship them back, because it violates the North American Union. I mean, YouTube and Google, the old videos from Lou Dubs talking about the North American Union. It was Prime Minister Fox, President Martin, and George Bush, our president at the time, all signed, sealed, and delivered the North American Union. Obama was supposed to implement it. I think it was August or so of 2010 when he got into office, whatever it was. And he was supposed to implement us in 2010. But you know, due to thanks to the resistance out there that pushed their plans back, but they are dead set on bringing in the North American Union. And so they're going to pick the next puppet, which I believe, because Jeb Bush, I mean, back in 2010, I said he's going to be the next president of the United States after Obama's 2 terms. That was back in 2010. And so far, we're coming to right because they're pushing Jeb Bush. And people say, well, Obama and they're all on the same team. He even openly says that George Bush is his mentor, but they're pushing Jeb Bush for the next puppet. It's going to be him and Hillary in the primaries, and Jeb Bush is going to win. The establishment has picked him. And he's going to pacify the public, like I said in my last video. And what he's going to do, he's going to implement, with the whole problem solver for all the border crisis, all this other stuff, the North American Union. The same thing his grandfather had visions of and helped start the European Union. He was a big part of that. And his father, George Bush, signed, sealed, and delivered the North American Union. And Jeb Bush is third generation Bush in office, is here to usher us into the North American Union. And folks, we are in big trouble, folks. We need to wake people up and stop this. You know, it depends on you, the people. We know the votes are fixed, but you need to get out there. You need to stop voting for people. Anybody that's running for president right now, anybody, okay, that's a Republican Party or the Democratic Party, you need to not vote for them. Because one, even they could be a good person like Rand Paul, but you know what? The establishment would never let Rand Paul win the nomination ticket for president of the United States. They would never. Rand Paul could be a great guy like Ron Paul. He made the mistake going the Republican ticket. He should have stayed independent. And Rand, you should go independent. But you will never win a ticket nomination of a corrupt party because they control it. They're going to pick their puppet on both sides and put them in the finals, per se. And there you go. They have the election fixed. And they're going to pick Jeb Bush, not we the people, but the establishment is already picking Jeb Bush to be the next puppet president of the United States of America. So you need to wake up, folks. And I know Rand Paul's a Republican, but you know what? Even if you did have the majority of the votes, the establishment will not let that happen. I mean, look what they did to Ron Paul back in 2012. Right here in Rhode Island, he had over 4,000 people in the auditorium and thousands outside just to see him. Romney comes, he gets about 400 people, and half of them were plants from their administration putting them there. So, and Romney wins by 38% in the polls in Rhode Island. If that's not fixed, I don't know what is, folks. And all the polls I've seen, I mean, thousands of Ron Paul supporters. Versus the how barely any Romney supporters, but Romney wins, beats Ron Paul here in Rhode Island by 38% or so. I forgot what the stats was. That's ridiculous, folks. So therefore, you know, Rand Paul is not going to win, folks. I'm telling you right now, Rand Paul is not going to win. The Republicans have picked and will pick Jeb Bush. So, folks, you're going to see him usher in the North American Union, which everybody forgot about. Everybody's worried about the border crisis. Then they provide the distractions of if we should go help Israel or not. You know what? That's their business. It's none of our business, okay? You know, support God's people. No, you support the people of God of Israel, not the Israeli government who's a corrupt. The government is a Zionist who are Rothschild. They're fake Jews, as the Bible stated. And I stated all this in my last video about Israel and Gaza. But folks, we're in big trouble unless you wake up and stop the madness. Okay, stop the pendulum from swinging. I know you might be a diehard Republican, diehard Democrat, but you need to look in the middle this time with the views of our founding fathers in the Constitution, because Republicans and Democrats swing out of the Constitution. You need to stay in the middle. That's the only way we're going to stop this right-wing, left-wing false paradigm. So, folks, and if you want to continue with your ways for Republican and Democrats, you know what? Guess what? Welcome to the North American Union, and ultimately, welcome to the New World Order. And this is Dan Bidondi for TruthRadioShow.com.